Hey, hey, marvelous mutt moms and devoted dog dads and Oliver fans. He's getting a fan club. I don't know how that happens, but we're talking today about toxic food for dogs. Now, if you ask the internet what foods are toxic for dogs, you're going to get this like 10-yard long list of all kinds of foods that you should avoid, and you're going to, be paralyzed with fear. That's the opposite of what I want for you. I want you to be empowered. It's also kind of troubling because I see things like mushrooms are toxic for dogs. Well, mushrooms are amazing, incredible food for dogs. I prescribe them as medicine all the darn time. If a mushroom is safe for you to eat, then the mushroom is safe for your dog to eat. And likewise, if it's toxic to you, it's toxic to Oliver. So that's pretty much your rule of thumb. And if you have a dog who likes to forage, well, maybe put a lid on that. What else? Avocados are toxic to dog. Well, there's this stuff called persin that's found in like the bark and the leaves, but we're not feeding dogs avocado leaves, are we? No. And avocado has some great fats and nutrients that dogs can really benefit from. Peanuts, they tell you peanuts are bad for dogs. Well, all peanuts, even organic ones, are contaminated with aflatoxins, which is a kind of a toxic mold or fungi. So nobody, you included, should be eating a whole lot of peanuts or peanut butter of any kind. But peanuts themselves are not inherently toxic to your dog. Oh, what else do they say? Oh, things like I've seen peaches and cherries listed as toxic to dogs. Well, yeah, if your dog wolfs down a bunch of, cherries or peaches with their pits, the pits can get stuck and cause a problem. Let's get something clear. When I call it toxic, what I mean is that there is a substance in there that is inherently acting like poison to your pet's system, and you need to supply emergency urgent medical care. I'm not talking about things that over time can build up, or if they eat a gallon of it can cause a problem. That's not what we're talking about here. I mean, milk and dairy products, heck, fermented goat milk is like a staple in my cupboard for when the terriers have an upset belly or a little like diarrhea or something. I put them on a fast, I give them bone broth, I give them some fermented goat milk, and then I move along. So there's a lot of benefits that you're going to miss out on if you listen to the internet. So that's what we're here to talk about. I mean, really, what I say is when you're offering food to your dog, pretend, use the same like food prep as if you're feeding a toddler. You remove the pits and the peels, you cut it up into tiny little pieces, and you give them little bits at a time. If they get gassy or burpy or their abdomen gets distended or flatulent, then maybe that food isn't really good for them, or at least not in the amounts that you gave. Okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty. What foods are actually toxic to dogs? Chocolate is tops on everybody's list, right? Everybody's like, no, don't feed your dog chocolate. That's true. But do you know why? It's actually the cocoa content that matters. If Fido eats a whole bag of Halloween candy, he's not going to feel so good, but it's probably not going to be toxic because, sad to say, most of the commercial candies out there do not have very much cocoa in them. But if your dog eats a brick of Baker's chocolate, that's like all hands on deck and go straight to the ER because there are substances in cocoa that can cause a lot of problems. Caffeine and caffeinated products, for the same kinds of reasons as cocoa, can be a really urgent problem. Again, a sip or two of your coffee or tea is probably going to be safe, depends on the size of your dog. What you want to be aware of is, if they, maybe you've, like me, you like to make your caffeinated beverage a little like hot and milky and sweet. That could be a problem because they might drink a whole lot of it. Or especially if you have a compost bin or the dog gets into the garbage and there's something good in there, but there's also coffee grounds and tea bags. And so they wind up eating it because, dogs, they don't really care. They eat now and ask questions later. Those are the times when caffeine can cause a problem. Also, I mean, if they get into like diet pills or energy pills or things like that, also a problem. So chocolate, caffeine. What else? Grapes. Grapes and raisins, which are just dried grapes, sultanas, currants. These are all in the, I think it's called the Vitum family. And this one's a little weird because there are definitely dogs. I mean, I've had people tell me that when they were kids, they fed their dog raisins all the time as treats, and there was no problem. We've seen wild canids munching down on grapes out in the wild, and they're fine. The thing is, we don't know exactly what's causing it, and we don't know which dogs are going to be sensitive. So I don't want that to happen to my dog. I don't want it to happen to your dog. So just avoid raisins, currants, sultanas, all of those things. Xylitol. Xylitol also really bad for dogs, and it's appearing in all kinds of foods now. You have to become an obsessive label reader. A big place where people miss it is peanut butter, and you might use peanut butter to get pills into them, but a lot of peanut butter now has xylitol. Read the labels, put your specs on, and get down to it. What else are we talking about? Macadamia nuts, not very well known, and it doesn't cause much macadamia nut to cause a problem. That said, most dogs recover within a day or two from eating too many macadamia nuts. Onions are also a big problem, not for us, but for dogs. And where that seems to be a problem these days, everybody, you want to feed bone broth. You're the educated 2.0 pet parent and you want to feed bone broth because it's so great. But if it's bone broth that's made for people, a lot of times it has onion in it because we really like onion. It kind of really adds that savory flavor. So bone broth that's only made for dogs, or make it yourself. I didn't even get into alcohol and THC that's found in cannabis. I did a whole post on THC and cannabis, and there's a video right on this channel. So go into that. Where it comes to alcohol, remember that it's never funny to get your dog drunk. But also remember that if you keep a compost bin and you've got fruits and vegetables that have been fermenting out there, that makes alcohol and your dog could have a problem. Now, if you think that your dog might be intoxicated or eaten something poisonous, call either the Pet Poison Hotline or the ASPCA Pet Poison Hotline. I'm going to give you the numbers right here in the comments. You have to pay a fee. It's very, very, very well worth it. If you call your vet, all they're going to do is tell you, call the Pet Poison Hotline. So do that and watch me. Right. So I forgot to tell you how to get this information. You got to sign up for my newsletter, and go onto my website, drheather.vet. The links are all down where the links always go, and you'll get the full list and much more comprehensive explanations of everything that I touched on here. All right. See you on the interwebs.